In this video, we're going to look at analyzing poll results from the internet. Specifically, this data is from the Pew Research Center, which is a reputable data source. And in your media lesson packet, I give you some links to determine if data sources you use, how they're ranked by other data sources, and basically kind of a peer research sort of check. Okay, so this is not about your friend's Facebook poll or a poll that, somebody may put on their website, do you like my site? And then a bunch of bots check yes. Okay, so this is from scientific research. Okay, so the Pew Research Center reported these results. And a few things I want you to notice, and this is a typical type of results we're given in the media. They give you, or in newspapers or on the internet, they give you this table of values. 1 in 5 Americans owns a smartphone but do not have a traditional broadband service, and they give you this information. So here it's the type of internet they have: broadband, smartphone but no broadband, no smartphone, total, and then it's broken down by age. And when you look at this, you kind of think this is just fact, that somehow they know they found everybody in America and these are what the numbers are. Okay, if you look at some keywords, percent of U.S. adults who indicate that they have, okay, some of that will let you know that this is from a sample. This is not, they did not ask everyone in America or determine what everyone in America has in these age groups. Okay, so this is data, and if it's data, there's a confidence interval and confidence level, and there's a margin of error. So these aren't the exact values. These are the sample proportions we've been studying. Okay, so I got this first table from their main article, and I actually had to go to their full report to find this information. So this is our margin of error. Okay, plus or minus. They had the margin of error on the last page, but the last page didn't mention that they were using a 95% level of confidence like we have. And in actuality, most people use a 95 level of confidence, and you should generally expect that for any poll you read. Okay, remember, if you had a 99% level of confidence, that would include more values. A 90% would include less values. So this is important, but they don't usually say it. If you're using it for really important reasons, look it up, find their level of confidence. If not, we'll just assume it's 95%. Okay? And again, those are the margin of errors and unweighted sample sizes, which is beyond the scope of this course. Okay, so well, it basically means these are the true values, but I won't talk about weighting them. Now, on the next slide, we're going to answer some questions. Okay, so what is p-hat for those who are in the age category 65 plus and have a smartphone but no broadband? So basically, we're just reading a table here, but we're noting that it's p-hat, it's a sample percentage, not a population percentage. So here's 65 plus. Have a smartphone but no broadband, that's this category. So p-hat is 10%. Okay. What is the margin of error for those who are in the age category 30 to 49? Okay, so we need to go down to this table. Okay, here's the age group, 30 to 49. And most of the margins of error, the last three, are 4.7%. It's a little bit larger for all ages because they had a smaller sample size, and we know that makes the margin of error larger. And then notice the total sample, the margin of error is smaller because it's a larger sample size. But ours, for this question, is 4.7%. Okay, so now we're going to interpret some confidence intervals. So let's see, built in, what we're being asked to find. We are 95% confident that the true value of the percent of the people in the age category 50 to 64 who have broadband at home lies between blank and blank. Okay, so now we need to get p-hat for 50 to 64. And for just broadband at home. So that's 68%. The margin of error for this category is 4.7%. Okay, so our lower value of our confidence interval is taking 68, subtracting 4.7. Oops, sorry if this is off the edge. So the lower bound is 63.3%. And the upper bound is 72.7%. Okay, so notice that's a relatively big range. It's about 8 or 9 percentage points. Okay, but I just really want you to see this so you can look at it and see, well, they said 68, but we're 95% confident it's actually in this range. Okay, so again, these are not facts and exact values that we know are universally true. Now let's look at a 95% confidence interval. This time they ask us, let's use an orange highlighter, the 18 to 29 category, they have no broadband or no smartphone. Okay, you should not be surprised that that's small. Okay, so it says 5%, and then looking at their margin of error is 5.8%. So let's compute this up here. We have p hat equals 5%. The margin of error for this group is 5.8. Okay, so if we subtract for the lower bound, notice we're actually going to get a negative number, 0.8%. Okay, now of course this cannot be negative, but I'm putting 0.8% here, and here's why. This tells us that the value 0, so there could actually, I'm sure there's not 0% who don't have any internet, but theoretically it could actually be 0. And I won't just put 0, I'll put this negative value because this helps us determine what part or fraction of the interval is actually in the negative range. So that gives you information. So we're going, if it's negative, yeah, you can't have a negative percentage, but this is useful information. And now if I add 5.8 to 5, that's 10.8%. Okay, so we are 95% confident that the true value of the percent of people in the age category 18 to 29 that have no broadband and no smartphone lies between negative 0.8% and 10.8%. Okay, so notice this lower value is just a little bit negative. It's either negative or not, but you know what I mean. It's kind of close to 0. So again, don't write 0. Use the actual value, even if it's negative, and that'll give us some useful information.